Hey guys, welcome to my Train Fever build video. Just go ahead and jump right into it. I got this just a few days ago and I've been playing it almost non-stop. And if you're new to the game, you'll know, just like I learned very quickly, the learning curve is very steep. So if you're frustrated, honestly, I get where you're coming from. Don't give up though. Once you get the hang of this game, it becomes suddenly so much fun. So let's just get a new game started. I would like a medium world. We'll do a flat terrain. I don't really recommend doing hills. It's pretty, even the flat one's pretty hilly. You'll kind of see. Definitely stick to easy difficulty. And for the sake of this, we'll start at 1850. You eventually get to start at whatever year you want, but you first have to make it to that year, without going broke or whatever. So we'll start 1850, random map, and just kind of take it from there. The load time is it's pretty hefty, so hopefully this doesn't take too long. So my goal is it's gonna be a pretty ambitious project, but I usually try to do 2 or 3 main lines, and each rail line will kind of just connect the cities pretty basically, and they'll have like 2 tracks for each line, one going one way, one going the other, and just a simple kind of switch and signal system to keep the trains moving at a decent speed. Otherwise, I've been experimenting a little bit lately with doing buses between 2 cities and doing trams between 2 cities, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. It's actually pretty lucrative, so there's actually a lot of fun ways to make money in this game. Alright, so load time, actually that wasn't too bad. Here's where it kills me, right? Okay. Let's just take a little bit of a look around. Let's let the map load a bit first. Alright, beautiful. So, usually I'll just kind of, scope out the area. And when I'm picking my first starting city, I'll go for one that's in the corner, or just kind of like against a wall or edge of the map, basically. And so like, here's a good place to start, because if I put my station in just kind of facing this way, I can have the start of basically 2 different main lines. So I can have one going out this way and one going out that way. And then they can eventually each feed, more cities outwards. So these 2 can eventually link up as it can go that way. And I usually think for like the bigger picture right off the get-go. So I kind of plan, you'll see what I mean by that. I plan ahead. Like I'll put down right away stations that have 5 tracks, instead of ones that just have the 1. I won't necessarily use all 5 lines right off the get-go. It's just easier to do this now versus having to upgrade later, just to save yourself the headache. And even before I put the trains in, I like to get the cities basically ready. And by that I mean I'm going to kind of connect these roads here, the missing ones, do a little bit more infrastructure, even though the houses obviously won't catch up just yet. I just want to kind of tell the city where I want it to go, basically. And for me, that helps with planning bus lines and helps make things flow a little bit more logically in the city. But that's usually how I start. I'll pick my city, pick where I want it to go, and then I'll get the trams and the buses and the truck networks just ready. And then once that's going, that's when I actually introduce the rails. Most people, they want to just jump right ahead with the trains. You can go ahead and do that. It's just going to take you a few years to become profitable, so I don't necessarily recommend that approach. This way I find it just gives you money right off the get-go. Anyway, I'm doing way too much talking. Let's just jump right in. When you're destroying stuff in the city, it's going to be really costly, so just be aware of that. And again, I'm trying not to have any dead ends. I'm just going to upgrade a few of these roads. And like I said, the train will kind of have it over here, so it's pointing out that way. And when I'm designing the public transports, I'll kind of make everything lead towards the train station. pretty logical reasons, you know. Obviously, I want people to go there, take the trains, and then go to the next city and rinse and repeat, you know. I like to spend a lot of money right off the get-go too. That might not be your approach, but as you can see, like 229,000 to destroy that one house. I mean, and same with 139 for that. I mean, it seems insane, and I know it is, but you start off with 3 million. You can borrow up to a maximum of 10 million, so that's a $7 million window of error right here. And for me, I like to invest a lot just early on to make sure that everything will run very smoothly. And in the long run, I find that will make you more money. So you might think this is nuts, but trust me on this. And this I learned the hard way. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish just kind of doing the basic parts of the city. We'll be a little more practical with this one instead of destroying the houses. Now I know the buses and trams and everything, they can turn around on their own points. Like, you don't actually have to make, you know, a complete circuit. I just think for the pure sake of aesthetics, it looks nicer to have, you know, like a logically flow-in tram or bus network instead of just a dead-end street, you know, just kind of like a weird little animation for the U-turn. But to each their own. If that's how you play, I don't want to knock it. It's just not the way I do it. So the city, when it does grow, you'll kind of see it just pops these little roads in and out. Like this guy we just put in. And then the houses will just come in on their own. But when you're doing this, you're just kind of encouraging them to go along your, you know, particular route that you're picking for them. Okay, so let's put the train station right here. Now again, I'm not going to use it right away. I'm just going to place it so that when the buildings pop up, they're not really, you know, I don't have to destroy them basically when I put this down later. That's a better way to say it. And then just for starters, again, I'm just going to drop some rails coming out, but I'm not going to use them. They're just placeholders. Just upgrade this road. And you'll also notice going over the roads with your rails, not the easiest thing. As you can see, the road is kind of built in segments, and you can't cross wherever a segment kind of meets another segment. So just keep that in mind. And what's really frustrating too is once you place the rail, you can't build any road over top of it. Also something I learned the hard way. But once you get a hang of it, you know, and learn these tricks and learn not to, you know, place your roads first, then you're okay. Or sorry, to place your rails first. Oh my goodness, you're giving bad advice right off the get-go. So like I said, this one is going to go out this way because of this curved mountain, or whatever I want to say. You can see the topography right here. You can also click down over here and see the contour lines. See, we're going up over here. I'm simply curving like this so I can build a fun little tunnel going this way. And I figured it would be a little bit difficult to cross the tracks at anything other than like a head-on kind of angle. So you'll kind of see what I mean. When I say tracks, I mean the road here. You'll see what I mean by this. So I can't really cross like this, whereas I can cross like that. So we'll just take advantage of the fact that we can still maintain a really good speed. See, when you pull out the speed indicator, the tighter your curve, the slower your speed, obviously, right? So I want to make it nice and fast. That means you'll have less traffic building up in the stations. I want those trains out of here. Okay, so for the sake of just keeping things simple, see what I mean, how frustrating this already is. So let's just, I'll kind of show you a solution to this. Now we know that we can get the train if we go like this, right? And there's 120. Oops, that's not a space. Let's get the edge of just that. No. Okay, so that's the edge of it right there. So we'll bring this basically as far back as we can go. And then now from here, So speed drop, it's not the worst. Not the best either. Okay, so you know what? Let's try a different approach, because I do want to be a bit faster than 71 right there. And you know what? What am I saying? Oh goodness, we are going the wrong direction anyway. So let's just go the right way this time. Take this contour lens off. Because from a distance, like, I think they're roads. If you don't want, see how the slope is kind of changing the terrain height right here. If you don't want this, you can change this on your own. Make this into a bridge, or you know, whatever you want, right? If you don't really want this, make this really short, right? And then drop that down, and then do, you know, ground level for the next build. I personally trust the computer, if that makes any sense. So I'll let it kind of go level. This way, this will be the best way to get the highest speed through your curves. If your train's constantly having to climb and dip, that's going to slow you down too. Now again, these are not really necessarily going to stay like that. They could change. Just placeholder. And that's so that, you know, again, if the town starts to expand while we're building elsewhere, we don't have to worry about it encroaching on the rails too much. And nothing behind us. So what I'll do here is this will be where the train has its garage. And I like to do one garage for each line, just for, again, just simplicity. And so these very, very probably will be changed, but again, just to give a general idea. So if the city does start to stretch out, you can already see how fast it builds. Like, you know, these are already come right back in. And this section is starting to go outward. Okay. Now, first thing I do once we get the, just say second thing now, because we've already done the first thing. Once we get this in, I like to get some money rolling right away. And easiest way to do that is to set up a very simple truck route. So let's look at what we have in the area. So back here we've got, what is this, production of ore. And do these guys need ore? These guys need ore, and they produce, you know, products or whatever. Goods. But they also need coal. So where can we find that? Coal, not anywhere close, right? Closest one's over here. So what we could do is draw the road out from here to here. Very plausible. Or we could abandon the idea of doing minerals, and we could just do lumber. So if you'll notice, we have a lumber mill and a forest on the same route. So these two guys are working together. And we could easily bring that into the city, and that'll be sold for profit, and that helps the city grow. So let's start with that. Now, for the sake of letting the trucks drive a bit faster, I like to upgrade the road. Again, all this is very expensive, but I warned you right off the get-go, we're going to be spending a lot of money here. And again, if this is not your approach, that's totally no problem. I've done both ways. I do find that if you just go for broke right off the get-go, but everything's laid properly, you'll quickly recover. Whereas if you just do like a very simple rail line and start with that on its own, it's going to take a few years for your trains to become profitable, and in that time you end up just bleeding through your money just to through paying the maintenance on the trains itself. Because you're not really going to have full loads for the first few years, especially if you have no tram or bus network. So you'll kind of see, but like, you know, it's whatever approach you guys want. Anyway, so roads are upgraded. Now the trucks will drive a bit faster. We're going to go over to our stations. We're going to click over on cargo. Right away, again, you know me, going for the fences here. So we're going to do a large one. If you do just a regular truck station, the maximum amount of goods this one will hold, it's not very much. So if you have a few trucks on the line, you'll find that most of them aren't really getting a full load. So just switch to this guy, because this over time will eventually upgrade itself if you keep feeding it. So So right now it'll produce 25. I believe these things only hold 18. So you can kind of see it's you know, it's not going to be, it's not efficient. Whereas these guys I think hold 40 maybe. I could be totally wrong with these numbers. I just know it's more than the 25. Anyway, so it's worth spending the extra few thousand. Okay, so we need one there, one over here, and we'll need one in town, usually near the industry. I did want it right here, to be honest. Alright, now instead of destroying stuff, let's just go like this. Now the fun thing with these roads is honestly you can do whatever you want with them. Does that work? It does. Excellent. So if you go over to here, look at the cargo view. Well, actually we'll start over here. You should, let me put this on high speed. We'll eventually see cargo make its way over from here into the truck yard. I don't know why it hasn't started yet, but... And now, we need to create a line. Oh, you can already see some stuff moving around. That's in the city, that doesn't really count, that's not what I'm after. Okay, so let's get the truck line going. So, first things first, we need to pick up lumber. So let's click over here. And then we're going to be dropping the lumber off at the mill. And then from here, we're picking up the goods, so it's a simultaneous thing. And we'll be dropping them off right here. And then it kind of repeats itself. So that's all we need for that line. And we now need a garage. There we go. I like to put these near the train station. That way when the city grows, and I'm kind of flipping from city to city, it's just, I know where they all are, pretty much. We'll buy some trucks. Right now, very early on, so all we have is horse-drawn wagons, which is pretty cool. They're not very fast, and they can only hold 4 units each. So we're going to want a few of them, just so that the line is profitable and it's efficient. And they'll eventually space themselves out properly. So don't worry about tossing them all on at once. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try 6. That should be okay for the moment, right? So we'll just get these out of the way. We're gonna set them all on the same line, which is line number 1. If you press delete, it just closes all your open windows. There, and off they go. And if you're curious, you know, you can just kind of follow along. See what the actual pace is like. Yeah, actually not overly fast, but you know. Still pretty cool. It's 1852, what can we expect, right? Horse-drawn carriage is obviously a very modern invention at the time. Probably the talk of the town would be our little caravan right here. But you can see what the game is already starting to do. It's now creating a little bit of a gap in between them. And every opportunity that the game gets is going to create a little bit of a wider gap, and that's going to slowly space them out evenly over time. So if we check on this after maybe like an hour of gameplay, you'll notice that the trucks are very well spaced amongst the line, and that'll help with the income. Once they're all bunched up, you know, if this thing only holds, you know, X amount, the first 3 trucks will probably empty it out, right, before goods have a chance to refill. But, you know, don't worry about that just yet. Luckily, the game takes care of that on its own. So, while those guys are doing their own thing, let's now build either a bus line or a tram line. I usually like to look at the lay of the land and see if a tram would kind of flow nicely through the streets. I think it looks kind of, I don't know what the word I want to say is, but it doesn't really look as nice if there's a lot of dead ends and like sharp corners. But then the tram, it takes the corners very tightly and it looks kind of odd. I don't know. I like these kind of nice, you know, wavy, slow, gentle curves. I'm not opposed to these tight little intersections, right? But if it's all just that, then it's not really much fun for a tram. Okay, this one, because it does have a few nice curves to it, we'll build a tram network. And I do want just one more road, kind of going up the backside here. Here I'm talking about not wanting that, and I'm creating my own corners, right? But ooh, see, now we're finally out of money, so we just borrow some money. That's okay, because the loan, the interest is pretty low relative to how much you're actually borrowing. I want to repay. Wrong direction. Just do a little bit at a time, just so I can kind of monitor